Now at 9, heavy rains caused flooding in many parts of the 4 states. We'll hear when we can begin to dry out.
Open enrollment could become the new normal for Kansas schools. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with the experiences of one school district who already has this in place.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Dow Quick. The ground is saturated, the rivers are rising, and we're getting more rain. Let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, super heavy amounts of rain that all of us have seen over about the past 36 to 48 hours. And we still have additional scattered showers and thunderstorms out there for us tonight. You can see a batch across southeastern Kansas, then picking up in southwestern parts of Missouri, at least over the past couple hours. So these are going to be hit and miss, but we don't need any more rain. And where we are seeing it, we're seeing some pretty good pockets across McDonald County and then stretching up into Berry County, and then several pockets as well once you get into southeastern Kansas. So we do have to deal with scattered thunderstorms once again for us tonight. When are we going to get a break? We'll look at that here in a bit.
See you then. In McDonald County, Missouri, floodwaters have crept into Big Elk's floats and camping near Pineville. The campsite's Facebook page says there won't be any camping in the A or B sections this weekend because of the high water. Across southwest Missouri, a lot of roads and low water areas were flooded earlier, and authorities say they're going to remain that way tonight. It's led to at least one water rescue. The driver of a half-ton truck became stalled in water in the Seneca district. The driver managed to climb on top of the truck once the cab filled with water. A backhoe was used to rescue that driver. It's a similar scene in parts of southeast Kansas. In some cases, there might not be barriers warning drivers. Even roads that might seem passable can be dangerous in conditions like this. If in doubt, as always, the advice is go around, don't drown. And it's not just flooding. Some trees were broken in Joplin, possibly from the high winds of the microburst. And whenever the ground is as soggy as it is now, the risk climbs that trees could be uprooted. Severe storms hit several areas in the southern plains yesterday, leaving homes and business owners with quite a mess to clean up. Fox weather correspondent Robert Ray has more from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Extensive damage left behind after a tornado hit Oklahoma, with heavy rain flooding parts of neighboring Arkansas on Wednesday. Drone footage shows roofs ripped off of homes and businesses flattened in the town of Seminole, Oklahoma, after an EF1 tornado swept through, leaving a trail of destruction in a city that was still cleaning up after a tornado just days before.
We started seeing debris. We got a cellar at the top, and we had people up in the cellar. It just come in, just pouring rain, and then you could just start seeing stuff start falling, and we just pulled the door closed.
One school in the district was hit directly. The Academy of Seminole taking to Facebook to announce it will be closed in order to assess the damage. The American Red Cross has set up a shelter at the local state college to help residents affected by the storms. Just over the border, residents in Arkansas had to deal with the flooding in their area. In one instance, emergency services had to get creative by using small inflatables to help rescue a driver after their car was trapped in water.
These roads are going to go back underwater if we get the 2 or 3 inches that they're talking. We'll be back where we were.
The National Weather Service says additional rainfall is on tap for Thursday afternoon, and the downpour will worsen conditions. So officials are asking people to remain alert and stay off the roads. There is a flash flood warning for parts of eastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas on Thursday. In Little Rock, Arkansas, Robert Ray, Fox News.
Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about today's weather with the KOIM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone. Best part, absolutely free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, the KOIM Skywatch weather app. Kansas students could soon transfer to any public school in the state, even if they aren't a resident of that district. It's part of a mega bill that Governor Kelly's expected to sign. Some southeast Kansas schools already allow this, including the Columbus School District. KOIM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on the impact on students.
Not every school will be the perfect fit for a child, and a Kansas bill expected to be signed into law could help those kids out.
Some districts are better fits than other districts for students.
The bill would allow Kansas students to transfer to any school district in the state, even if they don't live in that area. It's something the Columbus School District has been doing for a while.
Gosh, this has been going on, I couldn't, pretty well my whole entire career you've been allowed to go to other districts.
Brian Smith, Columbus superintendent, says it can benefit students in a number of ways, from academics to sports. Although it does get a bit tricky.
They have to sit out a period of time if they change schools unless they make a bona fide move. In other words, they move into that district. So if they were the neighboring district and they wanted to come play basketball because you had a better basketball team, they'd have to sit out a period of time. So most don't want to do that.
Smith says another issue that comes up is school bonds and taxpayers being affected by students who don't live in the area.
On bond issues, if you're building new buildings, the taxpayers in that district are paying for that. Like here in the Columbus district, we don't receive any state aid. So if you did accept an out-of-district student, they wouldn't necessarily be carrying their fair share. But we have no control over that now. Before we could say, no, we won't accept them. But now, with this law, that's changed.
The final version of the bill would require each school district's Board of Education to determine the capacity for the district to accept out-of-district students by 2024. In Columbus, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Under the bill, school districts are not required to provide transportation to non-resident students. The search is on to find the person responsible for leaking a Supreme Court draft document regarding abortion rights in the U.S. Democrats have their focus on the contents of the memo, showing a majority of the court would be ready to overturn Roe v. Wade. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is now planning to hold a procedural vote next week to codify Roe. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more details from Washington.
Anger boiling over in the aftermath of the draft opinion leak, suggesting the Supreme Court is ready to end Roe v. Wade.
It's my rights being taken away.
The potential ruling fueling renewed efforts among Democrats on Capitol Hill to pass a federal law protecting abortion rights.
Next week, the American people will see crystal clear that when given the chance to right this wrong, the Republican Party will either side with the extremists who want to ban abortion without exceptions, or side with women.
Some frustrated abortion advocates organizing under the moniker Ruth Sent Us are planning protests next week outside the homes of Chief Justice John Roberts and the 5 other right-leaning justices. Now, Senator John Cornyn is pushing a bipartisan bill to provide the justices and their families around-the-clock security protection.
And it's not just an attack against the independence of the judiciary. This risks violence.
Republicans are accusing liberals of trying to intimidate the court and are urging the Department of Justice to investigate the leak.
Any removal of federal documents is a felony. Also, it's against the law and a felony to try to intimidate a juror. Both of those things happen with the leak of this document.
Next week's Senate vote to protect abortion rights is unlikely to get 60 votes. But Leader Chuck Schumer says the issue will not go away, and Democrats will continue to press it all the way to the midterms in November. Outside of the Supreme Court, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
While speaking at a judicial conference in Atlanta today, the Chief Justice John Roberts condemned the leak, calling it, quote, absolutely appalling. He said his hope is the leak will not hurt the court's public reputation to decide issues free of political influence. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. John Twarog Sr. served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1943 to 1945. The Girard, Kansas native was stationed in Okinawa, earning a Purple Heart, among other awards. And we are proud to salute Private First Class John Twarog Sr., tonight's four-state hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball prepare for a rivalry meeting in the first round of the conference tournament. We're going to hear from the two teams in sports.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a very wet day for us today. Showers, thunderstorms for us yesterday, last night, and then kind of on and off throughout the daytime hours today. Just a ton of flooding across the region. Most areas over the past 3 days have picked up anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. Inch and a half at the airport since midnight. Look at the month. Today is the 5th. We're at almost 6 inches of rain. That's why we had the flood warnings across pretty much the entire area as creeks, rivers, streams continue to rise, and then they usually crest somewhere between 18 and 24 hours after the rain ends, and we're getting a little bit more rain for us tonight. But you can see the batches. This is the past 36 hours. Jasper County into southern parts of Dade County, 9 to 10 inches. All this purple is at least 6 inches. Most of this in southeastern Kansas, 6 to 9 inches. Even the spots that had the least amounts had at least 3, upwards to 5 inches of rain. So a ton of rain across the region. Scattered showers, thunderstorms increasing. Once again, you can see them picking up southern parts of Missouri. Good news here is we don't have to worry about anything severe, meaning hail, wind, or tornadoes, but we do have the aspect of the flash flooding. So showers, thunderstorms, southern parts of Ottawa County down through Delaware County. We know that near Knoll, the rivers are high, more rain, Pineville, Knoll, Anderson, over into parts of Berry County. We can track farther toward the north and to the west. Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, Erie, and then working a little bit farther east, Fort Scott, here's Nevada. All these storms are lifting off toward the north and to the east. So periods. Showers, thunderstorms over the next several hours. Majority of it pushes into southwestern Missouri after midnight. Kansas, Oklahoma, you start to dry out a bit. And then all this slowly winds down late tonight into tomorrow morning. So most of the day tomorrow, we just kind of have the clouds sticking around the region. But still additional rainfall tonight. The areas that do get thunderstorms could pick up another ½ an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of rain, lesser amounts once you get out across southeastern Kansas, southwestern parts of Missouri. All right, temps on the backside of this system, the cooler air sitting into the mid-50s, and Missouri still sitting into lower 60s. As this storm system wraps up and heads away from us, not a whole bunch going on out to the west, so that's good news. That's our weather by the time we head into the next several days. We are going to see a lot of clouds during the morning hours, and then we'll break out. We'll get a little bit of sunshine in here tomorrow afternoon. It is Friday. We could still see an isolated pop-up quick little shower tomorrow afternoon. 61 by noon, high temp 66. Northerly winds at about 5 to 10. We completely clear out for us tomorrow night, and then we look pretty good. We start to really warm up as we head into the weekend. 80 Saturday, 86 on Sunday. Mainly upper 80s and a chance to dry out into next week.
Yeah, it should dry out considerably over the course of about 6 days, I guess.
Yeah, here in about 4 or 5 days, people are going to be complaining it's too hot.
Yeah, and too dry.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug. Missouri State Parks announced it's changing the name of Ozark Mountain State Park near Branson to Shepherd of the Hill State Park. Governor Mike Parson and Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe were at the park to announce the unveiling of the new name. Reporter Madison Horner shares more about the park's history and plans for the future.
Located in western Taney County, the newly renamed Shepherd of the Hills State Park is filled with woodland landscapes, springs, and streams. Missouri Governor Mike Parson says renaming the park honors the Shepherd of the Hills rider Harold Bell Wrights, whose contribution to the region drew thousands of visitors to the area for more than a century.
To come back here for your kids and your grandkids and that passed down from generation to generation. Again, that's part of who we are in Missouri, and this part of the state is something we want to showcase and pass it down.
Missouri Department of Natural Resources Director Drew Bunton says over the next year and a half, they will be adding amenities such as campgrounds, hiking trails, and picnic areas. Bunton says funding for the park will come from the Parks and Soils sales tax, and its reopening will have a huge economic impact and bring new jobs to the area.
When you look at agriculture and manufacturing, really tourism and outdoor recreation are the next thing that kind of exists in terms of the significant economic in addition to the ecological benefits of it.
Governor Parsons says with inflation on the rise, he expects more people to make shorter trips and learn more about what the state already has to offer.
So I think these parks are going to play a huge role in the future of our state for Missourians, but also the people who's going to come in here and enjoy it.
The park is not yet open to the public, but it is expected to open in the summer of 2024. Once it is, visitors will be able to explore more than 2 miles of Roark Creek, 5 other streams, and more than 700 known plant species.
May this park be a place of healing and comfort and beauty for generations to come.
The change comes after public comments and suggestions at 4 public meetings held at the park. Coming up, trying to rescue trapped Ukrainians.
Ukrainian steel plant. Got in Kyiv. That's my story. Coming up.
Your base.
Heavy fighting continued today at a steel plant in Ukraine. Ukrainian officials are now working to evacuate people still inside. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more.
Thick smoke rose from the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol today. A bloody battle has been raging inside the Azovstal steel plant, where Mariupol's last pocket of resistance remains. The Ukrainian Marine commander confirms the Russian forces have stormed the plant after bombing it from above. Civilians and wounded soldiers remain inside. Ukraine's troops now left with 2 choices: fight or surrender.
For 71 days, the defenders of the city have been fighting single-handed against overpowering enemy forces.
Nearly 130 people inside the plant have already been evacuated. The UN says it will continue to work with Ukrainian and Russian officials to bring more people to safety.
The 2 parties to the conflict had declared a short window of silence or a ceasefire where we managed to evacuate.
Ukraine's military says it is making progress elsewhere in the country. Fighters have reportedly recaptured some areas in the south and prevented attacks in the east.
The existence of Ukrainian identity, the existence of Ukrainian nation is at stake. And we are not going to surrender under any circumstances.
But in the Donbass region, Russian forces have launched more strikes, shelling several residential buildings. The attacks injured 25 people and killed at least 5 others. Ukrainian officials now pleading for more weapons help from the West.
We would still assess that the Ukrainians are putting up a very stiff resistance and that the Russians have not made the progress that we believe they expected to make by this point.
Ukraine is also asking Western allies to develop a plan to help rebuild the country. In Kyiv, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Still ahead, a look at how student loan forgiveness might help only a small percentage of households.
The rains may be ending.
President Biden is considering student loan debt forgiveness to help those struggling to pay it off. A new study, however, shows the nation's wealthiest households could catch the biggest break. Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble has more from Capitol Hill.
It's a campaign promise President Joe Biden says he'll keep: student loan debt forgiveness, a popular proposal among progressives and many with student loans.
It's an issue that is affecting working class Americans of all backgrounds, and it's a crisis that the president can fix with the stroke of a pen.
But a January report from the Brookings Institution suggests the people who benefit most from such a policy would be the wealthy. The report says the wealthiest 20% of households owe almost a third of student loan debt. The next fifth owe right around 30%. The bottom 20%, the least wealthy, owe only 8% of student loan debt. Mark Goldwine is with the Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget.
This is not a targeted way to provide relief. This is not reduce the wealth gap or reduce the income gap. If anything, it worsens economic inequality.
But the White House says its intention is targeted relief. It's exploring the possibility of income caps for those whose loans will be forgiven.
The president talked back on the campaign about taking steps or looking at steps to help people making less than $125,000 a year.
The Biden administration insists the president can use executive action. If not, and it requires Congress to act, there may be wiggle room from Republicans on student debt, but not on blanket forgiveness.
Allowing people to have greater grace to be able to pay off their debt at a slower pace may be one thing, but just telling people we're going to wipe this out, that's a whole different issue for me.
The Brookings report also says the future value of a college degree is often left out of conversations about student loan debt. On average, it found the typical college graduate makes about $1 million more than someone with only a high school diploma. From Capitol Hill, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
He goes by the name of Zeus, and he definitely is the king of dogs. A visit to Texas next. All right, take a look at this. A Texas dog takes the Guinness World Record for being the world's tallest. The 2-year-old Great Dane Zeus was awarded the title by the organization after being measured at 3 feet 5 and a little bit more inches. The record-keeping company officially recognized Zeus as the tallest male dog alive. The previous award holder was another Great Dane with the same name who died in 2014. Zeus's owners say they're surprised and excited to know they have the tallest dog alive as part of their family. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. An event kicks off in Kansas highlighting all the things to do in some area counties.
The manhunt for an Alabama murder suspect and the corrections official who may have helped him escape is intensifying. I'm Steve Harrigan in Atlanta. That story ahead.
Some people in Kansas are traveling around our part of the state for the Big Kansas Road Trip. It's an annual event to highlight different counties in the state and everything they have to offer. And this year, the spotlight is on Bourbon, Cherokee, and Crawford counties. KOIM's Ty Parks went along on the journey.
But the Big Kansas Road Trip idea is to get people all over 3 counties. It's sort of adventure a la carte, it's an open house for the 3 counties. And people get to go where they want, when they want. And we all see each other all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. So the idea is to help people see a part of the state that they don't know, and to spend some money, support the local economy, and just really get to know Kansas. For 30 years, we've done Kansas guidebooks, have a Kansas Explorers Club, and we just continually try to pump the Kansas story out there that every town has something. From the explorer point of view, maybe rather than the traditional tourist point of view, but from the explorer point of view, those brick cylindrical water towers in Weir and Cherokee are something to go out of the way for if you have the explorer spirit.
Well, you know, we've actually gone every year since they've done it, since 2018, and something that my family and I do every year. I'm a teacher full-time, so I take off a few days so we can come explore Kansas. We have a 3- and a 5-year-old, and we want to show them that Kansas has so much to do and see. It's just get off the main roads, go do something fun, and don't be like, oh, it has to be some big and fancy thing. It's okay if it's a monument in a cemetery, just something that gets you off the road and just open yourself up. That's what I would say is we're unique and rural, and I think no other state has what we have when it comes to unique and rural.
The road trip runs through the weekend. Even with all the rain today, some folks found time for a little fun. The Spring Carnival has been going on at Joplin's North Park Mall. All the rides and food you expect open today. It closed at 10 tonight, but it's going to run until the 15th, so if you missed out today, you do still have plenty of chances. Today is the National Day of Prayer. It's an annual day of observance designated by Congress in 1952. To celebrate, First Baptist Church in Webb City hosted its annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. A lot of people gathered to have breakfast and prayer for the city and nation. People met again at noon around the Praying Hands for an informal time of prayer.
So spreading the word just simply means don't give up. Keep your sometimes small amount of people praying fervent prayers, and God will honor that.
The National Day of Prayer is observed annually on the first Thursday in May. Nationwide manhunt continues 1 week after a corrections officer and inmate disappeared from a jail in northern Alabama. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more from Atlanta.
The search for an Alabama corrections officer and the inmate she disappeared with has now entered its 7th day. The manhunt has crossed state lines, with officials receiving tips of possible sightings from Florida up north to Kentucky.
We are still following lead. We still have not identified a geographic location where they might be.
Vicki White worked at the Lauderdale County Detention Center for 17 years and was regarded as an outstanding employee. Investigators say several prisoners at the jail claim the pair had some sort of special relationship. Officials also say Vicki White was in phone contact with the inmate for possibly up to 2 years prior to the escape.
Their complaints were that he was getting special treatment, that he'd get more food on his plate, that he'd get all these little things that are insignificant on the outside, but are big deals to inmates.
Vicky White and Casey White, no relation, have not been seen since last Friday. The corrections officer told authorities she was going to take the inmate for a mental health checkup at a courthouse, but the two never showed up, and the officer's transport vehicle was found in a parking lot less than 10 minutes away from the prison. Police are now looking for a gold or copper-colored 2007 Ford Edge SUV. They say the two may have escaped in after Vicky White ditched her patrol car.
Vicky White would have been one of the last people in the world I would have thought would have done something like this.
No doubt that she could have been under his spell and very fearful of him, period.
There's a $15,000 reward for information leading to their capture. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
A bit later, more from Amber Hurd.
A second day of testimony from actress Amber Hurd as the trial continues between her and her ex-husband, Johnny Depp. I'm Lauren Blanchard outside the courthouse in Fairfax, Virginia. I'll have the latest coming up.
Update.
Well, it's definitely been wet for us this week. We've had periods of showers and thunderstorms really dating back to last Friday. Had some heavy rains Monday. We got some pretty good rains in here, and then Tuesday night, last night into today. And that's why we have all the flood warnings pretty much across the entire region. So especially at night with getting some additional showers and thunderstorms, be careful of those rising waters, as a lot of areas have picked up 8, 9, 10 inches of rain. But on average, most of us have picked up 4 to 8 just over the past 36 hours, which is quite a bit of rain. You can see more showers and thunderstorms increasing now in extreme southern parts of Missouri, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Not seeing anything too strong or severe, but just kind of a nuisance. More showers, thunderstorms, Newton County, eastern Delaware County, through Ottawa County. These extend east into Berry County as well. And then on the Kansas side, from Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, moving into Nevada, tracking all the way back toward Fredonia, Montgomery County. You can see these guys popping up, Nowata, also Washington County in northeastern Oklahoma. Scattered showers, scattered thunderstorms the next few hours. Nothing too strong, nothing severe, just good old thunderstorms. Starting to taper off, and mainly on the Missouri side by 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. After about 2 o'clock in the morning, it's just kind of hit and miss random showers. Things will start to calm down. Then we start the day with a lot of clouds during the morning hours, but still, especially southwest of Missouri, a lot of areas could pick up another ½ an inch, maybe isolated 1 inch amounts. Temps are dropping into the 50s behind our front. Cold front is sinking through, so mid 50s to lower 60s. Outside for us now as this whole storm system wraps up, heads east. If we look out toward the west, not a whole bunch going on, so our weather looks pretty good as we go through the next few days, which is something well deserved. Friday looks better, mostly cloudy skies during the morning. We get some sunshine in here during the afternoon. We could still see an isolated shower popping up, but in general, it looks pretty good. Day planner starting at 50, 61 by noon, high temp of 66 during the afternoon. Tomorrow night, we clear out, we drop back, upper 40s to near 50, and then Saturday looks great. Warm up into the mid to upper 70s to near 80 degrees by the time we head into the afternoon. We get to dry out. Mother's Day, 86. Look at this, upper 80s most of next week, and mainly staying on the dry side, which is nice. But if you want to look at severe weather chances, they start returning next Friday. You can see then they start ramping up for the middle of the month. So long ways to go, severe weather season.
Yes, of course. It's a long spring in the 4 states. Next time. Let's take a look at our tower camera sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. You can check it out anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Coming up in sports, a pair of local college baseball players earned first-team all-conference recognition. Plus, a former Pitt State football standout prepares for his NFL journey with the Indianapolis Colts. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Well, the MIAA released its all-conference baseball awards this afternoon. And 9 from Missouri Southern and 7 from Pittsburg State earned all MIAA honors today. Leading the way for Pittsburg State, this dude right here, Garrett McGowan. He's a first-team all-MIAA selection and made the MIAA Gold Glove team at first base. McGowan hit .410 this spring with 19 doubles and 16 home runs. He tied for the MIAA lead with 75 RBIs in 47 games. As for Missouri Southern, pitcher Logan Van Wy is a unanimous first-team All-MIAA pick. He led the conference in strikeouts with 113 in 75 innings of work. Now, 8 other Lions joined him on the all-conference list. Check out a full list of All-MIAA selections for both Missouri Southern and Pittsburg State on the sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, speaking of Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball, the two teams will meet tomorrow night in the first round of the MIAA tournament. Danny Terzer catches up with the Gorillas and Lions to talk about their first round rivalry matchup.
After 3 months and 50 games, it's time for postseason baseball, and everyone has something to prove.
We're ready to show that we're one of the most dangerous teams in this conference and we can go as deep as anyone else.
Missouri Southern travels to Pittsburg State for a best-of-3 series.
Everybody's excited. You show up in August and you have your first meeting and everybody's looking for this opportunity.
These two teams are pretty similar to power-hitting offenses, and both will look to their pitching staffs to give them the edge.
We need to throw strikes, first of all, and we need to get some big outs from our bullpen, and we've kind of hopefully prepared our guys for that. They're a really good offensive club. I feel like the winner of the series will be the team that can get the most out of their bullpen.
You know, we really haven't hit a bunch of home runs as of late, so we've kind of changed a little bit, and we've moved the baseball around a little bit. Been able to steal some bases lately, but they got a lot of juice in that lineup, and we're going to have to pitch really well, and we're going to have to do all the little things well to have a chance to win.
Pitt State won the regular season series in February, 2-1. 2 months later, the matchup looks different.
We know that we can catch fire whenever we feel good, you know, and our offense is just, I don't think there's a single guy on our offense that lacks any confidence at all. We're all ready to go, and we're all ready to swing the bat.
Hopefully Tommy will be in there for all 3 games, which adds a little dynamic to our offense that maybe we've lacked at times. And, you know, he has a chance to hit the ball up against a fence or out of the park, which, you know, not everybody does. But, you know, we got to limit our strikeouts and put pressure on them and score when we get a chance to do so, because we know that offensively they're going to be hard to hold down as well.
The Gorillas have won 6 of their last 7 games, and it's earned them home field advantage.
We're playing great team ball. It's not 1 through 3 in the lineup, it's 1 through 9, and then it's the guys out of the pen, and it's our starters doing a really good job of giving us a chance to win the game at the end of the game. Danny
Terzer, KOAM Sports.
A first pitch for Game 1 of the Pitt State-Missouri Southern series will be at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. On the softball side, Missouri Southern opens the conference tournament tonight, facing 6th-ranked Rogers State in Edmond, Oklahoma. Now, the Lions got a 1-0 lead in the 6th, but Rogers State wins on a 2-run walk-off double in the 7th. Southern will now face elimination tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. Former Pittsburg State cornerback Dallas Flowers has earned his shot at the NFL. Flowers has signed as an undrafted free agent with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Flowers is a first-team All-MIAA selection for Pitt State last fall and a second-team All-Conference pick as a kick returner. He had 21 tackles and a team-high 4 interceptions, also had 2 kick return touchdowns. Now, despite going undrafted, Flowers knows what he can do and is excited about the opportunity to show it when training camp begins next week.
All I got to do is just come in and ready to work and just showcase my skills and talent. I mean, I'm blessed to make it this far. I believe God didn't put me in this situation, all the adversity that I had to deal with through my life and college, stuff like that, for no reason. So, I mean, I'm going to just take this opportunity and run with it.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
The trial between actors Johnny Depp and Amber Hurd continues in Virginia. Depp has already taken the stand. Now Hurd continues to tell jurors about their relationship. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is outside the courthouse in Fairfax, Virginia with more.
Powerless. Nothing I did made a difference.
Actress Amber Hurd on the witness stand for a second straight day, detailing her side of what both she and her ex-husband Johnny Depp describe as a violent and volatile relationship.
I thought things would change.
Hurd described Depp's battle with drug and alcohol addiction and his attempt to sober up.
It was so erratic and it changed so quickly, and I naively now really did not understand what was going on.
questioned by her own attorneys, Hurd alleged Depp physically abused her, but she said she kept giving him another chance.
He got so angry at me, he slapped me across the face. Nothing I did made him stop hitting me. Nothing.
The trial is part of a libel lawsuit Depp has brought against Hurd for $50 million after she wrote an op-ed in 2018 talking about being a survivor of domestic abuse, although never directly naming Depp. His lawyers claim that article cost Depp work and harmed his reputation. Depp has already testified it is on his team to prove the op-ed was written with malice. His team believes they can.
You know, some people are calling this testimony. I'm calling it an audition. I don't know if she's coming across as credible. I'm going to be honest with you, and we'll see what the jury thinks about that.
The trial will take a break next week before picking back up the week of May 16th. That is when Depp's attorneys will cross-examine Hurd. In Fairfax, Virginia, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Coming up, time to think about the weekend. Going to see what's new to the movie theaters and at-home streaming. A magic-filled Marvel journey, an animated adventure with a familiar canine friend. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a look at new releases this week.
Experience the new MCU mind-bending movie Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in theaters nationwide.
Things just got out of hand.
Benedict Cumberbatch is back as Stephen Strange. Co-stars include Chiwetel Ejiofor and Elizabeth Olsen in a story directed by Sam Raimi. Realities unravel and a new enemy is revealed in Marvel's latest. And right before the film is an immersive, exclusive theatrical trailer for Avatar: The Way of the Water.
We need to know all the facts.
Promise me you won't hurt him, Mitch.
Where is he?
In select theaters on digital and on demand is The Ravine, with Eric Dane, Terry Polo, and Peter Facinelli about a shocking tragedy in a peaceful community, leaving family and friends searching for answers. Who's that? In theaters and on digital is the horror movie Shepherd, with Tom Hughes starring as a widower haunted by the death of his wife, who moves to a remote Scottish island where supernatural forces push him to the brink.
I can turn your dog into a champion.
New on streaming, the mischievous Marmaduke has a new adventure on Netflix, with a famous voice cast including Pete Davidson and J.K. Simmons.
Husband of the Year.
Thanks.
And Hazel is back at the hub in the sci-fi dark comedy Made for Love Season 2, with more episodes rolling out on HBO Max. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a birthday party at the Phoenix Zoo for Fernando the Sloth, turning 6 years old. Thanks for joining us. Be careful out there, and let's make it a great tomorrow.